Welcome to day 103. We have 1 Samuel 14, 1 Chronicles 4, and 2 Corinthians 13. Saul decides to show faith in God by cursing anyone who eats during a battle. Now, the real question here is this a wise choice? You're going into battle, you're telling your people never to eat all day long. This is not good military strategy, and I don't think it's God's will either. Hungry soldiers become faint. This is a bad idea. It undermines the battle and it backfires on Saul. Now, there is redemption for Jonathan. He manages to not die because of this curse of his father, because first of all, he didn't hear Saul's command not to eat. And then he only tasted the honey off the tip of his spear. He didn't sit down and have a whole meal of it. So the soldiers paid gold to save or redeem. So redeem is a biblical word, a churchy theological word, but what it really means is to save someone. And so they redeem Jonathan through the process that is traditional in the Jewish faith for redeeming someone. Saul is successful in expanding Israel's land, but he is not consistent with God or wise in his choices. And this is eventually going to backfire on Saul and the leadership of his kingdom. 1 Chronicles 4, we've got more lists. Now, the interesting thing in the list here is the prayer of Jabez. Now, this is a short little prayer. There was a very famous book about this 10, 20 years ago. And the basic prayer is, bless me, God, give me land and personal protection from trouble and pain. And a lot of Christians today have turned to this and have used this prayer in their own lives. Now, I think the concern I have with the use of this prayer is that in our highly consumerist, capitalist culture of today, is our focus using this prayer on material blessings and earthly influence? It is a call to God, which is good, but does it encourage faith, obedience, and service in all circumstances? Or is it used as a formula to make our lives here on earth more comfortable? And I think this is something we really need to struggle with. I think the original use of it was more honorable in that this person wanted to show their faithfulness and commitment to God, and that they were looking for a more basic level of basic needs being met. I think for a lot of us today, it's about having a really comfortable house and a bigger house in a safer neighborhood. And I think we have to really think through how we're using a prayer like this. Now, I'd like to compare this with Paul in the 2 Corinthians reading yesterday. His weakness becomes strength in Jesus. And so this is a prayer that it could be really easy for us to start thinking that we're comfortable and we can rely on our own resources. And so I really think we need to question, what do we pray for and why? And thinking of Paul, can we use trouble and pain to connect to God and to serve others? Can we actually be stronger if we have a little bit of discomfort in our lives? If we have shared so much that we have a simple life instead of a comfortable life? 2 Corinthians 13, Jesus was sheer weakness when he was killed on the cross, but he is strong in resurrected life now. This is a strong witness from Paul as he is encouraging new believers in the growing church in Corinth. Paul's final message here in this letter is, be strong in faith. Don't just drift along. Be cheerful, be agreeable, and may Jesus and the Spirit be with you. As we think about Paul's writings, these are instructions. They're not so much the stories. This is a very Greek, more philosophical way of dealing with this. It also follows in the rabbinical Jewish tradition. A lot of what Paul is looking at here is accountability. I told you about Jesus, I got your church started, I left, but I keep watching you, I've got my eyes on you, I hear about what's going on, and we all need to grow together in the strength of Jesus. And I think the same is for us today. I think a lot of churches and a lot of Christian believers have tried to avoid accountability. Oh, as long as you believe in Jesus, you're fine, you'll get into heaven. Paul is not so much worried about whether we're going to get into heaven. Paul is worried, are we living as Jesus taught us to live right here, right now? Are our behaviors and our choices helping Jesus build up God's kingdom on earth as it is in heaven? So I think a real question is, what are we doing and why are we doing it? Are we being agreeable with other believers? Are we sharing the power of Jesus in our lives? A lot of us are very hesitant to tell anyone that we are Christians or that we go to church or that we're doing anything for Jesus. I think a big temptation for us is to look for comfort and complacency in our lives. So I think today and this week, we should really think about what is one thing we can do that shows Jesus to someone that we meet in our lives today. And it could be just being really nice to one of the retail workers at a store we go to. I know that these days there's a lot of retail workers that really have terrible interactions with customers. Being kind to the workers that we encounter each day is a huge moment of witness where Christians can be seen as showing the love of Jesus instead of being hypocritical, judgmental, and difficult to deal with. So go forth and show a little love to the people around you today. We'll see you next time.